think there was a misconception a long time ago that OTT was really all just non-ad supported, all Netflix, all Amazon Prime. We know that that's not true. We know that people are consuming the networks, streaming apps. We know that they're doing Hulu and more and more things like Vudu and Tubi and Crackle that are popping up and are going to gain traction. So I think that's really exciting, but it is very disparate, and there are a lot of different options, and it's hard to kind of wrap that into one. It's we're not looking at a singular GRP anymore. You're delivering a spot and hitting 1 million people. That's not how OTT works. And OTT is not fully penetrated. All of those things aggregated together are at scale, but many people only have one service or two services, and we know many people don't even have an OTT device in their home yet. So we need to make sure that we're properly investing in the space and also managing frequency. We have to be responsible about making sure that we're not hitting the consumer over the head with the same message over and over. It's much easier to do that in a linear space, make sure that we have separation and you can track that. It's much harder to do that in the OTT environment.
At Horizon, what are you guys doing around OTT, and how maybe some examples or the kinds of activations that you're leading your clients around?
Sure, I think OTT is interesting because it has kind of fallen in the linear space and also in the digital area, the online video area before. I think we are looking at OTT both from a traditional content play. We need to buy This Is Us whenever somebody's watching This Is Us, whether it's live same day or whether they're watching it set-top box on demand or whether they're watching it on the app or on Hulu. So we want to capture the This Is Us consumer. But what's also interesting about OTT is you can target a specific audience and buy it in kind of the more traditional digital way of buying it and really hone in on our particular consumer. So it is interesting, and we need to kind of balance that. Or is it a content buy, kind of more similar to linear, the way linear was traditionally purchased, or are we kind of buying it out of a digital lens and making sure that we're managing those two buys together? Data definitely makes our jobs better, but it's also making our jobs a lot more complicated. Everybody's talking about we have a ton of data overload. What's the most important data set? If you want to target something as simple as household income, there's many different ways that you can get at that, and which is the most valid way of doing that. So it's really complicated and really complex, and you can do that on the front end. We also need to make sure that we're measuring that on the back end and proving out that we've hit those consumers. So we have a lot of different tools that we use at Horizon to do those things, and we're really excited about things that are coming to market that are going to help us better measure OTT, one of which Nielsen's promised for a long time is total content ratings, which is set to be syndicated this fall. We think that that's going to really help us wrap our arms a little bit better around really the true potential reach of OTT, whereas before it's kind of been a little bit of a black box.
And Sam, what about consumer attitude, about ad load, and you guys have certain, how do you see ad load and getting the right mix so you get your investment, but it's also the right experience for consumers?
Yeah, I think people are definitely, now that OTT and really on demand before that, set-top box on demand before that was a thing, people are used to less commercial load than linear television. They're also getting accustomed to maybe a countdown clock that gives them a sense of how much time they have. And we've seen the linear television, some of the networks adopt that. That's what Prime Pod was from NBC this past year, and Turner's limited commercial interruption. I think we're going to see kind of maybe an evening out of the two. The OTT maybe a little bit more commercialized, and maybe linear television coming down to kind of level set, and kind of the consumer's expectation is that they'll be sort of the same, but we're a long way from that.
And what about interactive advertising, bespoke advertising? We hear
Sure.
a lot about that developing. How do you see that coming along?
So interactive TV has been around for a long time. TiVo had been doing it for years at its basic premise. But OTT makes interactive TV that much more palatable. It's something that people now are used to, kind of interacting with their remote. They're much more likely to have their remote in their hands, and the technology of OTT makes interactive TV that much easier. So we have seen a lot more companies there are companies that have existed in the space for a while, but we've seen a lot more companies pop up that are trying to figure out interactive TV and make it really easy for the consumer. What you don't want to do is make it really clunky, they have to come out of the experience and then go back in and enter their email over here to get a lead generation over there. We don't want that to happen. We want the experience to be seamless. And I think we'll see, it really depends on the category where interactive TV makes sense. There's a lot of different, everything from packaged goods to a like really expensive product on the other side. I'm not sure how much we'll see people interacting with, for a price point of $5,000 or up for an expensive product. I don't know that interactive TV is right for that, but I think we could see something, more on the direct response area that could be really interesting.
And in terms of targeting and addressability, there's a lot going on there. What do you think? What kind of expectations you get from clients about, targeting a particular IP or targeting a household, or is targeting on that level important?
Yeah, I think targeting is very important. I think that we have many advertisers who still want to reach a mass audience. We still have advertisers who are still looking for broad reach and to brand build. So if you go too narrow and only buy addressable television and only buy kind of a targeted person, you may be missing out on your future consumer. So if they don't fall in my target today and I'm not serving them an ad at all, then they don't know who I am. They don't know who my brand is when the time comes that they enter the particular target. So I think it's a balance. We think it's really important that we have kind of complement, a large scale mass buy, especially for our major, mass advertisers, but then also layer on the kind of targetability that addressable lends itself to, so that we're really honing in on that particular niche audience and increasing frequency against them.